It's not too early for your winter forecast, but it's getting late for tropical wave 99L. Gabrielle's in the batter's box just waiting for a pitch to hit. Fall's rounding third, headed for home, and a big sunspot cluster sitting in the stands getting ready to run out onto the field and disrupt the game. I'll have all of that plus testing your weather IQ in today's Monday work week kickoff edition of Cold Rain's Weather World, where we've got all the weather and it starts right now. Hello, weather friends. Welcome into the channel. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Jason here with you. I'm glad you are here with me. 2 minutes. We're chopping about 2 minutes of daylight off every day, and that accelerates as we get on into the equinox. By the way, daylight savings time is the best. Prove me wrong. I love it. Anyway, we're going to start the show. I hope you had a good weekend. We're going to start the show out here in the tropics with this image. What is this? Well, this is Hurricane Erin's complete tour of the Atlantic. I'm glad she bought a round-trip ticket because she needed it. Starting here at the Cape Verdes, went all the way through the Caribbean, or north of the Caribbean, passed right between Hatteras and Bermuda. You couldn't have drawn this up any better, and died her tropical death here southeast of the coast of Nova Scotia, but she maintained strength as she went on into the wild blue yonder as an extratropical cyclone up into the graveyard of the North Atlantic, and did not hit a single piece of land remarkably all along the way. I found this image on AOL.com and thought it was interesting, wanted to show it to you. So what's going on out here in the current tropics? Well, not very much. This is Tropical Storm Fernand. I was corrected over the weekend because I called it Fernand. Gerald corrected me, and he was right and I was wrong, and you need to take that correction when you get it if you're wrong, folks. Don't have pride. Pride is bad, especially in the weather world. Be humble enough to know when you're wrong and admit it. I'm from the South and I mispronounce names I don't know. I've not heard sometimes. So Fernand is the name. Fernand is moving northeast at 12 miles per hour, max sustained winds 50. It's going to follow Erin right to its death up here in the North Atlantic as well, out the back door. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. What is this little X down here? This is the tropical wave that could. It wanted so hard to become a tropical system and a tropical depression, and it tried and tried and tried. It got stronger and weaker and stronger and weaker, and now has a 0% chance of formation over the next 7 days as it moves west into a sheared environment, into the Caribbean graveyard down here, where weak tropical waves often go to die as they get shredded apart by shear. It's going to eventually move into Central America, bring some rain to places like, it's already brought some showers and some squally weather in here to Grenada, the Grenadines, and it's going to Port of Spain, places like that. It's going to pass by Aruba and get on in here into near Costa Rica, folks. So we're going to see rain come out of this tropical wave. Jamaica, Cayman, places like that, folks. You're going to pick up some rain. That's going to happen over the next couple of weeks with other waves coming in through the area too. Here is Fernand. There's the path, just like I told you. And if we take that off, what is this big thing? Well, this is fall, folks. We're going to look at fall here in just a minute, but this is the big front that has brought some autumn-like weather to much of the United States. It extends back into the Gulf. And if we roll this out a little bit, kind of see down here in the Caribbean, there's some waves moving in toward Georgetown and places like that, and going to see that little tropical wave. There it is coming through as well. A few more waves back out here, but they look very, very poor. They're being inundated with dry air, and they don't like it. And you can tell on the satellite image, not much else coming off of Africa. So where the wave train is active, but they're not very strong waves, and there's a lot of dry air that they're battling. I'll show you that here in a second. But look at this. This is the GFS. Over the next 2 weeks, it's been showing systems in the Gulf or around the Gulf strengthening and kind of on and off. The Icon's been showing something almost every run. The European has not been so excited, but anyway, watch this. As we roll this on out, you got plenty of showers and some waves working through the Caribbean. You'll see showers and squally weather from time to time, but another series of fronts are going to come off the U.S. and kind of linger off the southeast into the Gulf over the next couple of weeks. So we're going to have to watch those areas for home cooking development, but either way, the wind pattern is going to shoot things out to sea. There goes the GFS with one such scenario there, weak low going out to sea. And here we go as we get on out into Monday, Tuesday, September the 2nd. Look at that. Cooks up a tropical cyclone off the U.S., off the southeast coast here, but it doesn't really strengthen it. It just kind of brings it in, brings some heavy rain into the Carolinas, up into the mid-Atlantic, and then maybe into the Northeast, Nova Scotia, Avalon Peninsula. This is 10 days out, though, so we can't bank on this for sure, and we'll keep our eyes on it because sometimes you do get those systems kind of develop, but nothing else at all happening out here in the Atlantic, according to the GFS, for the next 2 weeks. European, does it agree or not agree? There goes Fernand off into the northeast Atlantic, and look at this. Nothing, nothing, nothing. We're out here at Thursday, Friday, little weak area of low pressure way out here in the Atlantic, not going to hurt anybody at all. Here comes another one of another front, kind of stalls out here. I'm not even sure that we'll get anything at all, but European seems to like it. The GFS likes that same time period too, and so we're looking at little pieces of energy kind of coming off, bringing some rain. Maybe we'll get a little bit of rain into the mid-Atlantic if we get one of these things to develop right, and a couple of more waves coming off of the coast of Africa, but they're far north, and once they're that far north, it kind of makes it hard to get all the way to the United States. We tend to see troughs, and we'll see these fronts come out, and they'll propel anything up there off up to the North Atlantic. This is the Caribbean. Okay, I'm going to draw this so you can see it good. Here's the United States. There's North Carolina. There's Florida. Come around here. There's Big Bend. Come on into the Gulf. And that's what we've got going on there. Okay, that's a very poor drawing, but it gives you an idea. This is your little tropical wave that could right here in just to the west of the islands. Look what happens as it goes on. You see the little circulation pop out there? Watch this. It goes on west, 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 west. It gets over here, interacts with some land down here in the Caribbean. Shear picks up, these greens and yellows pick up out here as well. And it goes on in down here in Central America. Look at that. Nothing going on in the Gulf with all of these big bright colors, and the westerlies so close to the Gulf is going to kick anything out that would develop. Plus you've got all the shear in here anyway, so a very unfavorable environment. Things are getting shredded down here for a while. Here is the European ensemble map, and I've rolled this all the way. It goes out to 10 days. I've rolled it all the way out, and the only appreciable activity you see is some of the members develop a little bit of tropical wave action coming off the coast of Africa in about 8, 9, 10 days. Not many members do it. Out of 51 members, you only got about 10 here, so that's not a high percentage. So low percentage, and they're very weak, and the conditions are not going to be all that favorable. The GFS is much more excited about home cooking activity off the frontal boundary sitting off the coast. And so if it does, maybe Nova Scotia, the Avalon Peninsula, you get a little bit of rain, maybe clipping the northeast, but most of these are going to zoom up to the north and northeast and not really be involved in the U.S. weather at all. Here is the dry and moist air. Brown is dry, green is moist, and tropical systems do not like dry air. Here's where we're watching. Watch this area in here, folks, as we go on out in time. Check this out. So we're going to zoom this out. We get Tuesday, Wednesday. Look at all the brown. Brown is not conducive to tropical development. There comes a little bit of green off that's associated with the wave, but it gets mixed in with the brown pretty soon. And we're out here now 216 hours out. We're about 8 to 10 days out. Look at this. Brown, 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 brown. As far as the eye can see, this is not good for tropical development. So I'm not expecting very much in the way of tropical development over the next week or two. Now, that doesn't mean this gospel. I mean, it's not set in stone. Weather is not set in stone. Things can change, but it's not looking all that good. Shear's not great out here either, folks. So that's your tropical update. Got your weather IQ question coming up right now. And after that, fall is headed toward home. Will it score? We're going to find out right now. Got your weather IQ question, folks, but first, if there is anything I can pray about for you, please put it in the comment section. Pray for my family. Got a couple of folks that have some health issues. One's kind of serious, and so keep my family members in your prayers if you don't mind. Pray for you guys generically every day, so if there's something specific, put it in there. Leave a comment, hit the like button if you like the content, and subscribe. I've had a lot of growth here, and I want to thank you for that and for all the support. All those things that you do help you to push the channel out to other people and that might be interested in the weather, and they may not know about it. So that would all help us grow here, and certainly want to thank you for the growth that we've had. But anyway, your weather IQ question today, see how good you are with something that's non-tropical. We're going to start some non-tropical stuff here. So here's the question. Simple. When was daylight savings time first implemented? Okay. All right. 1925, 1918, 1784, or 1864. Those are your choices. If you have a guess, type it in the comments. If you don't know, just simply wait till the end of the show and I'll show it to you then. All right, so now we got to look at fall though, because it's coming. It's here for a lot of folks. It's coming for others. We're going to take a look at it right now. Friends, it is never too early to start talking about winter, especially when summer is almost here and fall makes its early debut. This is the Old Farmer's Almanac winter prediction, at least most of it. We still got a little bit to go here in the Pacific and on the West Coast. That'll happen imminently. But in the meantime, mild and dry for much of the nation's midsection over into the east, where it starts to get a little bit colder than normal and pockets of snowier weather. I'm not sure how they come up with these micro regions like this, but in any event, that's what the Old Farmer's Almanac is going for. We're going to do a show where I bring all of these winter forecasts together, and we'll just look at which one we like the best and pick it out, and we'll go with that one. Isn't that how it works, folks? We got all this data now, all these different models. We just pick out which one we like and use that one, hug that one, right? That's what you'd think if you read social media a lot. But in any event, back to the here and now. Got some cloud cover up here in New England with a satellite picture, bringing some showers up there. Got a little storm system that's going to be moving through today. You guys need the rain. Not going to get a lot of it, but you'll see some showers. Clouds here associated with a secondary front kind of pushing through. That's the leading edge of the cooler air, and that'll be making its way east today. And then a big batch of rain and thunder moving through Kansas and Oklahoma as part of a system in the flow, and that extends all the way back into the Intermountain West and the desert Southwest as well. You guys are picking up some rain out there. Taking a look here at the alerts map, flood watches up in Kansas and Oklahoma, back here in Colorado and New Mexico too, and back in Southern California, southeastern California, southwestern Arizona, and then up here in the Northwest, going to be very hot all week. Red flag warnings, don't burn anything, and extreme heat warnings up as well. There's the main frontal boundary that's bringing all that convection off the coast. It's going to stall over the southeast again, and this one here is secondary front. It's going to reinforce that. Going to see some rain up in New England today. Stalled frontal boundary across Florida, southeast coast. Going to see some rain there as well. There's your rain with excessive rainfall possible in portions of the plains and back into the Four Corners region. Now, boy, here comes fall. It is coming in like a lion, folks. Look at this. Big purples, 10 to 20 degrees below normal as we go on into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Keep in mind, as this thing gets into the southeast, the sun angle is still high enough. It's doing work. It's going to moderate this. We're not going to see highs for 60s in the southeast like we are up here in the Midwest, but it's going to feel good. And part of the reason is going to be dry as well. Going to issue a doorknob alert maybe for grabbing those doorknobs, getting that shock. You better watch out, especially up in the Midwest and Great Lakes areas. It's really dry up there. We go on into Friday, Saturday. Much of the nation is below normal, and it just continues through the weekend with a secondary shot coming in here. The GFS largely agrees with this, and it just hangs on. Why is that the case? Well, we've been looking at this pattern. Here is a high-pressure ridge out here in the Four Corners area, and watch what happens as we roll this forward a little bit. These big orange colors, folks, this is a big ridge that extends up into Canada like this, and there's blocking over the top, and you'll see that here show up again in a minute. In the wintertime, as I've been talking about for days, this would signal a very cool pattern for the east with snowfall potential. I hope this sets up in the winter because we're going to have some fun if it does. We get on out here to Thursday into Friday and Saturday. Look at that big ridge, just migrates over the top, blocks this trough from leaving. And so we're going to continue to see this pattern persist, maybe not to the extreme nature that it is, but we're going to see cooler than normal conditions prevail. Summer is out of here for the foreseeable future, folks. In the meantime, taking a look at rainfall potential over the next couple of days. Here today, here's your rainfall potential this morning and this afternoon out here in the southern plains and central plains, really back into the into the Intermountain West, and across Florida is the bulk of the precipitation in the southeast where that frontal boundary is. And then you've got some showery weather, maybe in ½ an inch up here in northern Maine. You need the rain up there. Tomorrow, that shifts south a little bit. Most of Oklahoma could pick up an inch or so of rain with more energy working through the flows. That front pushes down, that boundary pushes out south, and you got a little bit better chance of rain out here in the Intermountain West as well. Florida still battling with that. New England could see a few showers. And then as we get on out into Wednesday, a few more showers up in New England. Florida still under the gun, and the flow continues to be out of the northwest from the Pacific Northwest to the Central Plains. So under the gun out here at least the first part of the week with rainfall for you all. But look at this. This is the dry air, folks. It is by Tuesday, by tomorrow morning, It is going to have penetrated all throughout the southeast and the east. Dew points in the 50s where it's kind of white, and 40s up here in the Midwest. Man, this is going to feel absolutely spectacular, and that dry air just gets reinforced through the week as we go on into Wednesday and into Thursday and into Friday. More dry air pushing in up north. I mean, this is just amazing, folks, and the weekend's going to feel good. Maybe get a little bit of return flow, but still it's going to feel good. Temperature-wise, we're looking at over the next couple of days, highs in the 60s in some of the mountain areas and the higher elevations up here in the northeast, but 70s everywhere else. This is Wednesday. Let's go back to Monday. Why are we on Wednesday? Gave you a sneak peek, folks. I already gave it away. Look at that. 60s today, 60s out here in the plains where it's raining, with 70s everywhere else. Still mid 80s down here in the southeast. That front's going to sag through, though, over the course of the day. Tomorrow, there's 60s coming into the Great Lakes and northeast, 70s pushing into North Carolina. Going to find 80s going to be tough to find as we get on in toward late in the week. Portions of the upper southeast, 90s and 80s squished all the way to the Gulf Coast, and hundreds up in the Pacific Northwest. And as we get on out into Wednesday, things warm up a little bit in the northern plains, but back off a little bit more in the southeast. Raleigh looking at 78 degrees, and there your high temperatures in the 60s in the northeast. Look at this, though. This is the temperature for Tuesday. So these are the lows. Lows in the 40s, probably going to get close to 30 in some of these areas up here, folks. Boy, this is going to feel like a shock to the system, and some of these lows are going to be challenged for record lows. Lows in the 60s all the way across the southern tier of the country until you get down here into the Gulf Coast states and Florida, and starts to warm up a little bit there. But that is going to be chilly, chilly, chilly. And look here, this is the low temperature map. Let me get on a display that can show you most of this anyway. Low temperatures could be challenged. These are all the lows that could be challenged Wednesday morning. Look at this, 46, 46, 49. You can click on these and see exactly where it is. Bluefield down here in Bryson City has a low of 49, 58 down here in Memphis. All of these areas could challenge for low record low temperatures come Wednesday. And then finally, we do have a display for this one. 6 to 10 day, August 30th through September 3rd, still looking at below to much below in the east, above out west, above in Florida, and down in South Texas. But northern Florida, you're going to get in on some of this too. It's going to feel nice at Alaska, below north, above south, and Hawaii kind of near normal. There's your precipitation forecast, above and much above out here where you need it, except for Southern California, and then below in the lakes and above down here in Florida. Alaska's above, most of Hawaii's above too. So that's your weekly planner, folks. We've got to look at the geological and space weather update, check on those sunspots. I'm going to wrap it up. So here's our star, nothing facing us right now, a few minor sunspots, but we've got some big activity coming around the limb. There's one coming around there. There's another cluster down here toward in this bright region that you see here, but they're pretty mild, not really all that complex, but some activity coming around the limb that's been shooting off big flares and CMEs in the opposite direction of us. Those are going to be working toward us this week, and we're going to watch those because we could have some trouble from those if they continue to be active, and we'll get a good look at them in the coming days. So we're going to watch that. In the meantime, folks, nothing going on the earthquake front since the Drake Passage earthquake, that 7.5 the other day. Nothing else happening of note, so we're not going to spend time there. Waxing crescent moon, now 5.4%. It was a new moon on the 23rd, going up to a full moon, full corn moon here on September 7th. If you remember from our moon question series, our IQ question series, you know that it's a corn moon coming up. And there is the daylight chopper, folks. We are chopping right in here, and you can see daylight leaving here, right here. See that? It's leaving on the front end and the back end at a nice clip, and that will continue to accelerate into the equinox. And chop daylight down, and there's your fall countdown to calendar fall. Meteorological fall starts September the 1st, so we are but a few days away from that. That leads us all the way back around to today's IQ answer, and the question was, when was daylight savings time first implemented? And out of all of these four choices, the correct answer is 1918. And I'll read you a little bit about that. Daylight savings time was first implemented in the United States on March 19th, 1918, as part of the Standard Time Act. This was done to conserve energy and resources during World War I. And while the U.S. initially adopted DST, Daylight Savings Time, in 1918, it was repealed after the war ended, but it was then reinstated during World War II. The modern implementation of daylight savings time, as most people are familiar with, actually came about with the Uniform Time Act of 1966, which standardized the practice across the entire country. And a fun fact, Benjamin Franklin actually first suggested the idea in kind of a satirical manner in 1784, which was one of the choices that I gave you in the answer choices. Franklin wrote a humorous essay suggesting that people should get up earlier in the morning to make better use of natural daylight, thus reducing the need for candles and saving money. Save money by not buying candles. And you can save money by turning the electricity off and the lights off when you're not in the room. I try to do that because I need to pay less for my electric bill. All right, that's the answer for today's IQ question. Now you know about daylight savings time, folks. Now you know the weather. And as always, this is Cold Rain reminding you that the weather runs 24/7, but we've got you covered right here, right now on Cold Rain's Weather World 4814. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful start to your week. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Take care, everybody.